You will notice my accent. I'm not American. I'm not from the UK. I'm French, but I live in Switzerland. So I moved for my first job. I started working in startups at the beginning. So I started as a data scientist, but I did my cheat code is that I did an entrepreneur master's on the side. So I learned a bit about businesses, marketing, how to do things to grow your let's say a venture or a startup. But just after this, I came back in the technical path to become a data scientist because I saw that if you started a business very young, it wasn't very efficient for most of them. So I said, okay, let's slow the things and let's learn from other startups and start my venture after. So I will just share a screen in order to illustrate the subject of today. Please confirm that you see everything.
Looks good.
It's good. Okay, perfect. This is in French, but I see this yesterday, and I think it's a great introduction for the talk of today. It's someone in France that created a solopreneur school for every people that go solopreneur. So basically, it is the step just after freelancing. And I love this slide. If you guys, you will be able to translate it after with the OCR or some stuff. But it's just to give a situation of where you are and what you have to do in order to go to the next step in terms of sales and business growing. And the first step is like writing your manifest. So what do you want to change in your daily life? Why do you want to be a solopreneur in AI? What do you want to have as a week, an ideal week? And this manifest is really important. It's the first step because it's what makes you hold the line during all the process of being a data scientist and a solopreneur. After is defining the objectives. So having this manifest gives you the ability to define this objective. So do you have to grow more on the media, on a YouTube channel, as did show? Is it more growing a team and growing a business strategically, finding the right partner to make your things happen? So do you have a data provider you should have in the loop? Do you have a team or person like this? After it's pivoting to the niche you identified, launching the solo media, etc., etc. And it's really great because I love this map. It's good to reframe on it. And when you do your weekly objective, is to say, okay, what is the thing that I have to focus on this month so I can scale? So yeah, I just saw this today. It was very nice. But to go more in the subject, so we are called the First Partners, and we are a company based in the Valais. So the Valais is the French Alps. So basically, we are at 15 minutes from the mountain, the Alps, the Porte du Soleil, so the third bigger station in Europe, and it's unbelievable that we have this amount of nature. It's very great when you have to focus and you want to have a healthy life on the same time. We get some partners in AI. I will tell you after why it's important for me to have a strategic partner in that business and to be someone, to be a company, and to give confidence to the prospect. So Hijab and EPFL is in Switzerland. Some big schools like EPFL is the top 20 schools in the world. So it's behind the US schools, big US schools, but it's well known with a good reputation. And we have some business coach that help us from the DIARC, help us to review the deals. This is important also at the beginning. And some customer we have worked with. So during this past 9 months, I had the opportunity to grow a team. So there's 3 people. There are 2 that are contractors. So what I do is that for my project, when I need to be faster on special things, these people work on a part of my project. So Marinette is very specialized on the domain I'm developing my business on. It's on the market research. Polster is the full stack person that developed the solution and that developed the SaaS when we did it for a customer. And Niaja is someone that took as an internship from June, and he will be here until mid-October, and they accepted also to continue with us on a part-time location. So I'm at the step of, if you go back here, I'm really at the step of, getting the strategically person around me to differentiate. So yeah. So what I did with Pulse Partners is that I really looked at my background. So I was pretty good at data engineering, software engineering backend. I have some deep knowledge in data science, but I wasn't the research person. So I say, okay, where data engineering is really painful. And I found that market research was the things that, was the intersection between a domain that is passionate for me and that can really help to bring a value. And also a market that have enough money to pay for a data solution, AI solution on the top. And so what we do is that we are an agency with a proprietary product. The proprietary product is called the Smart Interview. A Smart Interview is a survey that have AI inside. So we leverage large language models and speech to text in order to for people to reply with a qualitative question. So they, with their voice, they reply to the question. There is a transcript in text. And from this transcript and the context, we generate other questions on the go. So for when you do a market research project, it has a lot of value to add this qualitative data, because with it, you can have much more analysis, much more qualitative data, but at scale. So you keep the scale of the survey. And it finds its market, and it bridges basically the qualitative in the quantitative. So yeah, we have this software we continue to develop to scale our operation, and this is what we bring to the leads. So with our software, we have the ability to have much more context in the response. So we really find that power of the large language models to ask the best question we can to the respondent. Give value because you have a lot of context, so people are willing to pay for much more deepness. Also, with the voice, the person will put a lot of more topics in each responses. So this is in German suites that we have a transcript, and we have more topics in average by open responses. So yeah, this is how we marketize it. So the faster response time, more code by answer, and longer responses. But from this is my proprietary solution. And what I did is that I business developed around it. So I found a customer, I can help them just for data engineering or project linked with market research. So the more I was able to do project for market research, the more I learned what were the pain points and where I could make a solution that is reliable. So yeah. So the sales lesson I learned between it, I put this in the order because it's what helped me to pass the step month by month, I think. It's so this is really on the back, being mentored. I think it's not a bullshit advice. Because I have 3 different mentors behind myself. So the first mentors I found was a girl that had an agency in marketing and sales. And this girl is really, really relevant because she had, the understanding on how the ecosystem works in Switzerland. And so who you have to link with in order to get authority. What do you have to show as a company branding in order to being understandable by your customer, the culture of sales? She helped me, and yeah, the first advice is, for example, she told me is that you don't have to do a scrappy slide. You can just buy one on Template Forest, for example, for $20, and this slide will stay every time in your hand. And you will modify it, making it better and better. But if you start with a slide on Google Slide you are a really small startup, a really small entrepreneur, and you try to sell solution and your services, it will not be serious for companies. I mean, you have the opportunity to have 30 minutes of calls. You have to be sharp, really interesting, and having a good branding. So yeah, this first advice, I think, make me save months and months after. When I entered in my first sales pipe, like the person I have to sales to, she also helped me to say, okay, the problem is that if you have too much meeting of sales, because you do not qualify enough your customer, and you have to ask 3 questions basically to make it faster. Is what is your emergency? Like, do you have a timeline for this project? Why is it? What is your roadmap? So you see if this question is basically very relevant, I think, in AI, because every people want to know more about AI, so they get very interested, but they just drain your energy and they bring you nothing. They just take your knowledge, but you have to close the deal because you have to pay your rent, to pay. So this question is very useful. And the 2 other questions she said to me is, what is your budget? Because if they don't have any budget for you, not enough, you switch to another one. And yeah, if they were basically able to scope the project. So yeah, the budget and the emergency was the key things. I think on the sales at the very beginning, so for me, the beginning was last year, August, September, October. Like, I think many people say, okay, be really sharp on your time. Don't spend too much time doing useless sales call. Calculate the 80-20%, the Pareto law, you know. I quite agree with this, but I think at the beginning, taking a lot of data point, like booking as much as possible sales call, I think it's important because you have no reputation, you are no one, and you don't have the experience to detect if you will make a good sale or not. So you have to take data point and say, okay, because after it will help you, you will train your own model to say, okay, this prospect looks like the last one I had, so I will not be able to close him. So yeah, learning a lot of pattern at the beginning. So booking as much as possible calls, I think it's something important. So that was my calendar in October, as you can see. Call, like 6-7 calls, 6 calls per day. So yeah. I think at the beginning also you are SMB, so a small business, and it's very, very relevant to have strategic partnership because you have much more conversion rate compared to any other kind of sales pipe you would have without strategic partners. So if someone say, okay, I know this guy, they are relevant, and they can deliver a good system, AI system, data system for you, this will very help you to close the deal. So for me, there are several methods to find the strategic partnership. So if we come back here, I have this strategic partnership, but I have 2 other. So Brand is one now. And so my customer is also someone that distributes for me. And there is also another partnership that is my mentor. So the first is a technological partnership. It will say, it will give the authority arguments on your first slide, and it will say, okay, you are linked to this very good university, so you can do R&D project, big project, and if you are backed from it, it means that you are very serious. So for example, if you achieve to have MIT on your slide, I don't know if it's easy, I don't think so, but maybe some university related stuff. It's a good authority argument about the technicity of what you deliver, and that the ability you have to put a project into research and development. This could be a big thing after. The other part of strategic partner, For example, mine, brand trends give me a big differentiation on my market because they provide me with a lot of data for my solution to make it better. Like we have a lot of links that are important, but some of the links we have are this, but also the sales exchange. So, for example, if they have a lead on their side, it will take a lot of time for them to do the project, but with our solution, we can directly integrate the project on our side and give them back the data, and we take a small amount of cash. So yeah, we have customers that we should do it together. So this is very interesting. And Lane Digital is not here, but it's another one. So Lane Digital is providing consulting services in marketing, website, and sales for SMBs, meaning that they deal a lot with CMOs, so Chief Marketing Officer from companies, and so I can upsell to them with AI system, large language model system, or just my own solution, like a project with my own solution. So yeah. So yeah, you have to find a way to get deals on our side. And ZARP is another one that give us some deal reviewer. So people say, okay, they are linked to ZARP, so it's a serious startup because this ecosystem has a good track record in providing successful startup that grow in revenue. You know, so everything that it's you have 30 minutes, so it's putting the image in mind of people that you are relevant, you do quality. So yeah. So this was on the strategic partnership. Maybe I can make a little pause here, because this is a discussion for me. I didn't have a big presentation. It's just sharing my experience, and I think you can apply it directly because you are technical too. So yeah, maybe guys, if you have any question from that slide.
I'll give other people an opportunity. I have a few questions, but if anyone else has questions, feel free to raise your hand or just jump off mute.
Yeah. Sure. After what I need to close the first deal was creating an irresistible offer. So sorry guys, this is a very classic book, I think, for you, but like in Europe, it's not well known. Alex Hormozy is just becoming popular right now, but this book is very helpful. So it's like it's like shifting the brain because when we are technical, we really like to say that we did very hard things. We forecast this trend using bagging of models. We used a lot of pre-processing, etc., etc. But like it's complicated for a customer non-technical to understand all these words, and it will get boring. So what he wants is that you say, okay, for your strategic presentation where you want to present this AI system, I can solve the issue you currently have that I identified with a free audit that are this, and this. It will take me that time. I will deliver you this, so we will test 15 days before, and it costs that price. You know, you remove all the problem of your customer and you reply to all problem, and you package this in an offer. And like removing all constraint of the person will get you the ability to find the first deal. And you take everything on your shoulder. You're like, okay, I'm really here to save that person. And I think it's important to have self-confidence at the beginning to really do anything you can to get the first deal, because at the beginning it gives you the confidence for the second, the third, etc., etc. And yeah, I think just wrap every problem of the prospects in one offer, reply to any issue with the solution you have, and during a call, if you are super relevant, super straightforward, super meaningful, like people want to not have problem, to have an easy life. So yeah, I think this helped me a lot to close my first deal. The situation was that the person had a webinar presenting a solution So it was basically large language models asking questions on the database, and you have to present it like in 3 weeks. But it was taking like 1.5 minutes to process the data. And the agencies that did it before, they made a system where they created a new database each time, and they asking the questions to the new database, but they just have to pre-process the data before. So it wasn't a big deal to solve it. So I identified everything. I say, okay, I will save you for your call. And I will solve everything 1 week before, and you will have the ability to present it, and it will be completely okay. And so it happened, and he signed the deal. So yeah, people want to be safe, and you can use the emergency sometimes. Emergency selling is okay.
Matthew, we had a question we had a quick question in the chat. So Mesa Ramez asked, in addition to being a data scientist, we need to know how to sell, and this will be a game changer, right? So I guess a comment on the sales side of things.
Yeah. I mean, if you really go into being an entrepreneur, you have to sell. You have to be the sales. At the beginning, if you are an entrepreneur, you have to be the sales, because it will put you in a position where you can solve and package everything, and so you can get higher price if you know how to sell. Staying in the position of freelance is that you get a bit dominated by the prospect. So he will choose directly. He will put a price on what services he wants. He will identify everything in his budget, and he will say, okay, I give you my time for this money. But if you are really the person that take the lead on it and know how to sell, how to package the things, I mean, it's a very good competence, because after you also sell yourself to your team, you also sell your company to the people you hire. I think a good consultant is someone that sells every time, even on a project deliverability. You also sell your result. You say, okay, this result is very good because we did that. A way of doing a good presentation. I mean, the psychological value of the person is on your way of selling. So it's a very good skill, I think, to get.
Yeah, it's good. It's not just about like selling the client, but also, selling potential employees, selling people that are, you're contracting for a project, selling the results. Massa had a follow-up question. So your services are mostly around LLMs, I guess, kind of she's curious about the things you're building.
It's mostly about LLM, data engineering. So me and myself, a data engineer, and my services. So we target the companies around market research. So the companies that send 100 surveys, because I identify this market to have a lot of data to process. So I knew that I could, provide services on the long-term goal, and I saw also the opportunity to create a product. And so this product, you leverage LLMs to have a deeper answer on the survey of people. So yeah, it's a mix of survey and product on my side.
Let's see. We'll take one more question. Alejandro raised his hand. Yeah, go ahead, Alejandro.
Do you hear me well? Yeah.
Yes, sounds good.
Hello.
Thank you for your presentation. No, just want to clarify. I mean, you get a product, but then how do you start getting your first contact, your first client? I mean, you just call companies and say, "Oh, okay, we have this. Do you want to talk to us?" How do you manage to get your first people? I mean,
yes, exactly. What I did at the beginning is that I shot out a lot of LinkedIn message. So I did a list. So yeah, before I had decided to really do this follow-up question system using LLMs. So I really wanted to do this. I don't know why, because for me it had a very great value, and it connected well to what I wanted for me, And I say, okay, I really want to do this. So I will really push my product and do services around. But my goal is to very push this product. And if I achieve to switch just on it, it's perfect. So I started very with that product, and I reached a lot of people on LinkedIn. I identified 2 different markets. The first was recruiting. So you are an HR who want to recruit 100 of candidates. You could have a more qualitative question on the recruiting if you integrate my SaaS. But I understood that it was very, very hard to integrate in recruitment because you collect the data of people that send a job post, that candidate to a company, etc., etc. It was quite hard. But market research, I found that these people were really bullish on AI, and that they have a lot of data, level on IT that is a bit low. They are not so good, but they do have money for it. So that was a pretty good market. And so when I understood it, I completely all in on it, and I sent a message to a lot of CEO of market research company, insight manager. And what I did is that I was in the learning position, so I said, could I learn from you about what you do in your daily life? And I'm sure this call will be interesting because I could also send you value on data and AI for free. So yeah, I had a lot of chat. I think I chat to 10 or 15 person, and 2 different tried my product for free in September, and there is one that I closed on a recurring basis after in January of this year. So yeah, just reach. For me, it was full LinkedIn, some phone call also, but full LinkedIn. Yeah. And also in real life, I'm networking a lot, so I get myself to economic forums. It's called in Switzerland. It's like places where you have a lot of deciding people that are meeting for business conferences in local areas. And so you know that you are directly talking to a person that have money to spend in things. And so I met CMO of an insurance company, and she said, okay, let's try your product for a project. So yeah, so networking, forum economics, and full LinkedIn, that was the most efficient for me.
So we can continue the questions after Matthieu makes it through a few more of his slides.
Yeah. So yeah, the next slide, I think your name on Google is very important. So you are switching from technical to CEO. So it's very different because people want you to, to do project and make it successful. So they will look at your name on Google. So for me, it's something very important that I care a lot about, because like you send a message to someone and he will take only a few minutes to screen you, and we say yes or no. So I think you could be very bullish on your LinkedIn account and put something that stand out from the other person. So how I designed, for example, my LinkedIn is that this branding is the school. It's equivalent of EPFL, equivalent of MIT. So it's like you give yourself a very strong academic image. I did that school, so I can. Also some partners, but I could complete it. And here I put, I won a hackathon in AI with a 10K cash prize, so I could show off about it. But I think this helped too. And yeah, my school, and now I, generate growth because it's all about growth. And what I put is my track record, is my previous company. So I carried successfully some projects with big companies. So it means that if people come to my profiles, I will say, okay, this is the guy with who to move in AI because he knows how to do it, he has experience. So yeah, and I'm still young, I'm 26. So it's just a matter of how you put the words in it. So yeah, I think this is important. So if you have good photos to put here, you can talk about the technology you do, but this will put you in a freelance position. So I think being the person that project manage, that do everything is better for you. Okay. Yeah, this one, I think. So when I started that venture, I was with another guy that finally said, no, I don't want to continue. And that guy, I think, did one mistake, that was to focus a lot of on the trends. So currently we are really on the large language models. I think we should avoid to spend time and energy on looking at all the news that exist, etc., etc. Because for me, it's a lot of energy to look at all the benchmark every time benchmark the models. Like at the end, we don't care. Just if you want to do LLMs, you just run ChatGPT 4. You just solve the entire use case you have to solve, and you explain how you will do it. And after, if there is really a requirement on privacy, you will find a way to change to open source and to do other things. But it's important to be less interested. Like it's good to look at the news and to be informed, but in the person you are and in what you say to people, the trend is less important than being very strategic, I think, on your market and say, okay, I think the market with growing revenue that I've already paid for my stuff, and yeah, you are really here to help, not to look at all the LLM trends. It's too much energy. We don't care about it. I think there is different advice on it. For me, I prefer to target blue ocean markets. That means market where no one is on it, because I think when you are a beginner, you have to take time to learn also. So not being very pressed by every competitor, etc. So for me, it's good to target a good market that is blue ocean. So with no competitors, with no other solution, a sweet spot that you have for you. Because with LLMs particularly, there is a lot of red market. For example, a lot of people are doing AI in law, helping lawyers. A lot of people are doing chatbot, and chatbot you will do a sales call with the leads. I did it at the beginning, and you will say, okay, but there is 3 other providers that can help me. They have this and this solution on chatbot. Why are you better? So you will spend your time finding reason on why you are better at doing chatbot. So you will find all technicity in why you have a better chatbot, but you are not building anything on it, chatbot, I mean, too much people do it. You can. It's better to target something very narrow. And so yeah, these books helped me so much because Peter Thiel is a Techies at the beginning, and when he started PayPal. So yeah, this is all the patterns he understands about targeting a market. He gives a framework on all the questions that will be responding when you choose a market with your solution. And the key things, I think, because when I talk, I'm really happy about my venture, etc., etc. But it was very hard sometimes. Even at the beginning, when you have no deals, when you take 2-3 months, you have no deals that comes. Like you have to hold the line, to hold the bar. So yeah, I think finding something you are really passionate about will guide you, and it's the condition that give you the ability to spend hundreds of hours building your stuff without thinking about it. Because even sometimes you will have maybe you will get overwhelmed by customers. So it happened to me. I had 3 customers on the same time, and I didn't have the learnings to handle it very well. And so being very passionate about my problem was the way for me to say, okay, I know what I do. I know I'm on it for 3 or 5 years, so I will hold the line, and I will continue to provide quality with the smile, even if I just sleep 3 or 4 hours. But I mean, every business is go by this step, I think. And yeah, last slide, because I love Hunger Games, and at the end, business is also a war. So this situation happens when you are selling, I think.
Yeah, that's great. Well,
you.
let's thank Matthieu for a great presentation. And now let's expand it to the Q&A session. So feel free to drop your questions in the chat or to raise your hand. We have one in the chat already from Adrian. So he's curious about your sales process. You talked about all the sales calls you had in October, and earlier you're talking about how you're doing a lot of LinkedIn outreach. But what does your whole sales pipeline look like today? Oh, yeah, go ahead, Adrian.
I can ask it here. Yeah. I was asking about all those calls you had in October. How was that experience for you, having so many calls in so little time? And how would you follow up? And how would you also tailor your offer to each client? Because every client has different needs. So how did you manage all of these sales calls, and at the same time, how were you offering something that was of need to them?
So yeah, basically I have a set of slides that I always complete with the new need of the customer. Okay, I will try to organize my ideas. It's true that sometimes I have 4 different calls with different offers. So this is the game. So from a call to another, you will not sell the same things. And what I try to do is one day before. So basically, I have processes. So I do it the weekend. Is that I strategically, I do my strategy. I don't develop the weekend. And so, for example, I will look at all the leads I have called with on the week, and I will do a market research on what could be looking at their rapport de gestion. So it's like their report on their website, and say what is their strategic goal for the year, and how can I align a solution in that way. So this is a way to organize a call, but you could have before some let's say some elements, because you probably talk with the person about their needs, so you can craft something with an offer. So you can propose things that you can sell to them. And at the very beginning in October, I had 3 different MVPs on my side. I had a retrieve augmented generation that was working for a hackathon I made. So I was selling on it, personalizing it for customer, and presenting some demo on how I can adapt the system to them. I had so Smart Interview, my software. I was also presenting sometimes. And yeah, I talk also about my background at the very beginning, project I successfully done before. So yeah, different demos on very small things. But I think with GitHub you can download a lot of RAG or systems right now and present it and say, okay, I can adapt to you. Yeah, so I think this is some elements. And to follow up the call, I struggle still to do it, but the important is to let the person speak more than you, so you get more data to find an emergency or something you can provide. But in my call, my goal is always to be in advance in value, so to provide more to the person than what she provides to me. So I want the prospect to feel that it has something to give me back, you know. So what I try to do now, but I didn't do it in October, is to send value before the call. So I said, okay, I exclusively did that for you. I thought about you, so I made this data and this research for you. Here is for free to prepare our call. So the person will feel that she has to give back something or a project with you. So I don't know if it replies to your question. It's some elements that I used to set up, but I don't have clear pipeline. I don't have processes on my side. I just know how much revenue I should do, so how much call I should book. yeah, it's already what I have in process right now.
Yeah, thank you for your answer. Maybe if I can follow up,
Yeah.
what I'm wondering really is, how do you juggle between acquiring new clients and iterating on the ones you already have and building a better solution, a better product on what you have, and what was the impact of these two things on your revenues as well?
So I think this question is specific on the software you develop, but there is a pattern that is very general, is that the company that I do my strategy to build the software with the prospect, and every time adding some new features, is that yeah, so they have the project they should do with the prospect, and they have some new feature they should add for this project. So you develop it internally before the project start. You do the project and you deliver the new things. So for example, I started with a customer. I had only to handle some languages like French and English at the beginning, but now I have to integrate Chinese. I like to integrate a specific type of questions in my survey. Yeah, step by step you build stuff, and now internally so I have margin that I can invest. So what I do is that I scale the processes of creating questionnaires, so it's less time consuming than before. And you know, step by step you get a software at the end. Like this is the goal. Yeah, I don't know if I'm precise enough. But yeah, but what I show to the customer is the capacity of the software, but I try to be very general. So I say, okay, for your specific use case, it would be good to do this. It will bring you more value than your previous project. And for example, with a customer that are really close to your domain, we did that. You know, and after they propose a project.
So I saw Emmanuel had his hand raised. Did you have a question, Emmanuel?
Not necessarily a question. I guess I was gonna try and elaborate, but Matthew definitely did a good job on some stuff. But I guess to I think it was Adrian's question. I would say what maybe Matthew didn't mention was just having a system in general. As you went through your process, Matthew, I like the fact that your system, one, I believe, is what helps you balance out, you know, the acquisition, retention, and just, you know, new products, services that could definitely come in line. But I guess just in general, you know, just wanted to give kudos that I do love your system and your strategy in terms of partnership. And just wanted to add a little bit, because it kind of seems like your part is more product based, you'd say, but to be more, just add some, I guess, cherry on top. It depends on what you put your foundational service to be. That usually helps you explore more clientele. So, you know, and eventually, Shaw, I will definitely do a talk to. But just to add some sprinkle on there, you know, if you want to have a more outreach, but to Matthew's point, also be niche, you know, you could focus on an industry, and then you could more put like a baseline of your analytics service or product, you'd say. And like Matthew said, let the client do more of like the offloading of what their pain points are. You know, let them technically tell on themselves, and then it's your job to piece it together and create like a true proposal that would fit their needs. But still, you will, you know, have your services like at the foundation of it all.
Yeah, thanks for adding that additional color, Emmanuel.
Yeah, the pain points is really important. I think. Thanks for mentioning it. I think I think there are hundreds of people that want them to sell something. So just doing the job to find the pain points, you know, the things that are really painful. Yeah, for them, it's yeah. I think it's really efficient.
Definitely.
This
I
was
do have
go ahead.
oh, sorry. One more question. I do have one question for you, Matthew. You did mention you do outreach on LinkedIn. So you know, a little bit of background. So I do more, my outreach is very cold email for like, I'll say 90% of it. And then I like to add. I just started adding a second touch point within, like, reaching out to LinkedIn, but I'm basing it off of the people that actually do open my emails to find out, kind of have those targets. But just curious on your venture of, reaching out on LinkedIn, if you don't mind, sharing whatever you're comfortable with sharing on your outreach process on LinkedIn. Are you sending a generic mass outreach on LinkedIn, utilizing Sales Navigator, or are you? I guess the other one that I hear the most is get a lot of content out there, and then they'll start flooding your way, which I definitely plan to in the near future. But in my journey to like bring LinkedIn to be part of my I guess acquisition pipeline, just wanted to know, like, what's your experience with acquiring on LinkedIn?
So I tried a bit LinkedIn Sales Navigator, but for me it wasn't very efficient. For me, what was very efficient is to be very personalized on the person. So I'm more qualitative than quantitative, to be honest. Like the cheat code I try to use is that I know in the real life people like me, and I I use the power, because when I go in a room, some people go to talk to me. So I try to be cool like this online too. So I'm really in the learning position, and I say, okay, I say to I highlight the person I talk with on LinkedIn about previous event or something they done, or I just ask if I can learn about their experience, because it's really relevant. And sometimes some CEO tell me, normally I will never have a call with someone, but your message was very efficient. So yeah, for me, it's more efficient to do quality and one-by-one analysis, but maybe some other approach could work. I should try, but I didn't try mass outreach.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. Where you say, personalization matters a lot, but I guess depending on the skill that you're reaching. But then, you mentioned another thing, your personality. Being a likable person, and I'm as you're explaining it, just your presentation, your branding. Obviously, before the meeting, Shaw sent out the outreach, and just the way you branded yourself, and if you search up your name, you kind of see what kind of popped up, makes you adds a bit of to that additional. Was there any resource that you use? I know you mentioned Alex Horozzi, definitely a fan of him and the work he's doing. But I'm curious, like, your branding on LinkedIn, how you embedded your logo on your header. Maybe some punchlines of like helping over 100 companies and X, Y, and Z. Was that all yourself, or do you have any point of contact that maybe we could be utilize in order to like get that LinkedIn branding? And because at the end of the day, it's like I could bet you, like, after this meeting, maybe my name may be searched up by some other colleagues that are on here, but wanting to be LinkedIn being like that first or closest way that someone could get to know you and what you're offering, your company and X, Y, and Z. Do you have any resource for us that you could point to that that could help us with branding?
Yeah, okay. So if I understand your point, is that you say that you think I have good tips in branding, and I attract with the brand of myself and my slides, right? And you want to know what direction we should take.
Yes, definitely.
I think this is something, yeah. My first mentor, what I decided, okay, so yeah. So me, I come from the startup world, time series forecasting. So this was my background. And the pain point that I saw in this company that I understood, and I say, okay, if I create mine, I don't want to be like this, is that it's very not human in terms of no one is doing personal branding on the IT area. No one have events and great company culture. So the mentor I want to choose is someone I can transfer our company cultures. So this girl that helped me as a mentor said, okay, you should have very good slide. So my benchmark was, okay, I should be the same branding as McKinsey. I should have better slide than the company I was in before, you know. So I really put the high bar on my slides because you sell. My ambition was to sell to big companies. So I want to be, you know, very clean. Those people you sell to, they don't understand about if you reach 3% more of accuracy with your algorithm, they don't understand how you do it. It's too much calorie in their brain. So they prefer to have a clear branding and say, okay, this guy is in this ecosystem, know these people, you know, because for me, my reflection is that the people pay for your solution, but they also pay for who you are, what group you are in. They pay for it. It's like no people see that I'm in Switzerland. They have some link with Dubai, with company in the US, and they say, okay, this guy have a very good network. And yeah, I mean, human work like this. It's about psychology. And so a book that helped me much. So yeah, two things helped me much, but the first, you cannot copy it because on the weekend during that I was a data scientist, I had a small business when I learned branding. So I coded an application with a friend of mine, and we were selling a local subscription to in Lausanne, so it's our city, and people have to pay a subscription and they get deal every time. So everywhere, so I had to be very branding my product, make some advertising and stuff, and it learned me that branding was important because in B2C people have a very short window of attention. So yeah, branding is because of this and because of my mentor and my previous experience. And what helped me to understand branding is this book. And the thing is that I think Show have a really good branding in his YouTube channel. Like I really like it. It's very clear and stuff. But yeah, this book helped me so much. It's like it explains how you should that you should tell story behind every messages you have, and it's not only doing fancy logos, but it's also like, for example, when you post on LinkedIn, it's AIDA framework, so attention, interest, what is the rest? Attention, interest, problem resolution, I think, and answer. Like you have framework, and it's always a story. Like you have someone that is the good person, the bad person, and at the end there is a resolution on everything. So yeah, this book helped me to marketize myself on LinkedIn and to know what is behind the successful brand. And on the business part, I think I would strongly advise to buy a slide on this website.
Okay, yeah, definitely appreciate that, Matthieu. Definitely good resources right there. We'll definitely check it out for myself.
Yeah, for example, me, I put this slide, but I change it a lot. Basically, what you could have. I think you can have maybe better slide, but it's really like a McKinsey presentation. Like it's not much. It's small investment in time at the beginning, but what will follow is that you will have always good branding because you will make it better and better every time.
All right, so it looks like we're a little over time, but let's thank Matthieu again for a wonderful workshop and discussion. If you have follow-up questions, I'm sure you can reach out to him on LinkedIn, and I'm sure he'll give away all the secrets. Let's see. So keep up with our events calendar. We have an event next month targeted for freelancers. It's answering the age-old question, should I do project-based pricing or hourly-based pricing? So Ben Feike will be leading that workshop. And with that, thank you, Matthieu, once again for leading the workshop, and thank you all in the audience. We'll see you in the next one.